Welcome to the Growth Buyer Podcast, where we engage with top business leaders who share their experiences and provide real insights that help them attract customers, retain staff, and grow their bottom line. Now, let's get started with the show.
Hi there, I'm Kevin Hourigan, host of the show. We're going to be interviewing marketing executives, C-suite executives, and others who want to share their inspiring stories to help you grow. Today, our podcast is sponsored by Spinutech. Spinutech is a full website design and development agency with a full digital marketing agency as well. They help their customers grow by a fully integrated suite of digital advertising and website and web development experiences that help their businesses grow in their revenue, their reputation, and in their client satisfaction. And today with me, I have Chad Franzen here from Rise25, who's done thousands of interviews with successful entrepreneurs and CEOs. And we have flipped the script and he'll be interviewing me today. Welcome, Chad.
Hey, Kevin, thanks so much. Great to be here. Hey, let's start off by talking a little bit about the history of Spinutech. I know you were a co-founder of the company and you didn't originally call it Spinutech. Tell me when and why you started the company at the time you did.
Yeah, Spinutech today is a combination of two agencies that grew up. One started 26 years ago, one started 20 years ago. My partner, Mark, and I both, I think, were a little early into the web design businesses when many companies weren't there. And so, both of us saw an opportunity to help companies design and develop websites. Being young in our career and inexperienced and in a very underdeveloped industry, we started building very small, inexpensive websites. In my journey, our first offering was a 3-page website for $500. My partner, Mark's first website, he was a junior in college, and he sold a local bar and restaurant down the street their first website for $500 as well. So, we both saw an early opportunity to take things we had passionate about and be able to help companies get started. And being young and inexperienced in our career, we had to find a way to get started and where to grow from. But here I am 26 years later, my partner Mark 20 years later, running a digital advertising agency with about 175 team members, offices in 5 locations across the United States, team members in probably 28 of the United States, and enjoying still helping companies grow their businesses with teams who love to work together to do fantastic results for our clients and have a great company to stand for.
My memory of the internet dates back to about 1995. So 26 years ago would have been about 96. How did you kind of get into it? When I saw websites, the last thing I ever thought of was, how I'm going to design these websites. What made you get into that?
There's an old saying, hire people who are smarter than you. I had another company that was an IT integration company, and one of our engineers wanted to build our own company's website in 1995, just as you said, Chad. And so I knew the answer no wasn't the one he wanted to hear, so I let him build on his own time our company website. And when he was done, he was quite proud of his work product, which he should be. And he said, "Can I offer to do this for our clients?" And so I could tell again, and he didn't want the answer to be no. And I said, soft sell, but if somebody's interested in having a website design, and you say you're going to charge $500 for a 3-page website, sure, we can do that. And Chad, I think he went and asked a bunch of our clients that, and they said one of two things: what is a website, or we're never going to need one of those. But about 6 months later, the phone started ringing and said, "Hey, John was out a few months ago and he wanted to talk about this website thing. And, I think we actually wanted to have him come back out here and talk a little bit more." And so how I started my career in the website and web development agency was listening to one of my team members have a wonderful idea to start building 3-page, $500 websites that ended up being the company that, I'm co-founder of today.
Knowing what you know about the internet and web pages today, how much more detailed or advanced is it compared to web pages at that time?
It's a great question. The complexity still is always changing, but I say a year in the digital space could be the equivalent of a decade in many other industries. And so, I think where Spinutech stands today and where it has for the last 20 or 26 years, we maintain a level of knowledge at this level where the people that we work for have a level at this knowledge. And they want to pay us to be able to bring them up to this level than to do something that they really could do themselves. There's nothing blocking them from signing up with Wix or something else right now and designing their own website right now. It probably won't be the one that they, are going to help them really generate big moving of the needle, so to speak, and growing their business, but they could do it today. what they're seeking is somebody who has a bigger knowledge base of where technology is today and where it's going forward, and help bring their company up to that level so they can take advantage of the opportunities that digital advertising and the right website can do for them.
I'm curious, what inspired you to kind of get into this line of work? Was there something in your childhood that kind of inspired you to get there, or was there a moment?
I went to school to be a dentist, so it wasn't my childhood. In my childhood, there wouldn't be a web the web wasn't anything that I was aware of. But I think probably mentorship probably helped me figure out what I wanted to do. And I've had quite a few mentors in my life, and I remember early in my career I was in the hospitality business, working 70 hours a week. And a friend of mine's dad was a very successful attorney, and he asked me one night, how many hours a week are you working? 70. How many days? I'm like, I've actually worked 7 days a week. He said, why wouldn't you do that for yourself? And it was probably one of those pivotal moments in my career where I went home kind of depressed that night, but it was the pivot moment where I knew that if I was going to work that hard in a career I really wasn't enjoying, and the people above me who were my work mentors, and I was climbing that career path, I was escalating to that, but I knew they were miserable. And I was just following in that footstep because it was the path I saw. I didn't see the paths I could exit off of, but that was an inspiring moment where I decided I wanted to get off. Even though I was climbing that career path and there was rewards ahead of me, I knew I was just delaying more miserable components, and why wouldn't I go do that for myself? And I knew technology was where I wanted to start that career. And I had to learn some technology to be able to figure out where to get started. It started in the IT infrastructure space, but eventually evolved into the digital marketing space.
How is your company that you founded? What are some of the primary differences between now and when you were first getting the ball rolling?
Yeah, so certainly the tools and the technologies are significantly different. Before we were building a 3-page website, right? Today, websites are significantly larger. So the scale of what we were doing back then, but while it seemed complex at the time, what we're doing today is much more complex, but also the return on investment and the results are way greater than they were before. I mean, before, I think when we really got started, we were building, a digital yellow page ad and a 3-page website. And some people use that as a directory to go look up companies, but many did not yet. And so, I think as the web adoptions continue to take on just this, groundswell of humongous growth, the complexity remains probably the same complexity, but the opportunity and return is significantly greater. And again, it's just understanding where the world is going from a digital perspective, and being able to be working with a team who knows how to bring companies into that space and help them grow is really what it's all about, and it has been since day one.
What are some of the reasons that people choose Spinutech over maybe some other options that are out there?
Yeah, so one of the things about the digital advertising industry, there's little barrier to entry. I call ourselves a professional services firm, and what other careers are in professional services? Well, there's CPAs, there's lawyers, but you have to have certifications. You have to pass a bar. You have to pay a CPA exam. There's continuing education credits that are required for you to be able to practice in those industries. In the digital advertising space, there's no credentials that are required. There's no regulations. It's someone's imagination how they want to market themselves and the ability to connect digitally to be able to put something out there. And so there's a lot of competition out there, and through my entire career, you talk about, well, my daughter's boyfriend's cousin's, nephew, does web design and builds $500 websites. Why would I use you? And so that's been, something we've talked about all the time. But the reality of why people hire Spinutech over other agencies is we bring complete end-to-end digital solutions to our customers, starting with strategy. What are you trying to accomplish? And creating a roadmap to understand here's where you're at and here's where you're trying to go. We have the in-house with 170 team members. We have in-house copywriters, strategists, web designers, web developers, web hosting people, search engine optimization people, social media people. When I say people, I should really say experts. Our team is all experts in what they do. Social media advertising, paid media, paid search, paid social, ongoing email marketing, CRM management. And we do this under one roof with one proven methodology that these team members are working together every day to help companies identify that strategy, execute that strategy, implement that strategy, measure it, celebrate together with our clients on the wins, and dig deep into the trenches on the things that need adjustments. And as an agency, there's not many agencies out there who have expertise across that entire digital end-to-end services I just spoke about. Many agencies are much smaller in size, and they're aspirational to have experts across that, but you need scale of a team to be able to be experts. And so the differentiation is under one roof, you've got subject matter experts across all the digital checkpoints that are necessary to build out and execute a great strategy. Or the alternative is you have to hire multiples of companies who have expertises in particular niches of all that, but because they've never worked together before, their learning curve on how to work together is going to take some time, and that time is going to cost money. It's going to cost delays. Their failures are going to be problems. There's an old saying, you're no stronger than the weakest link in your chain. Bringing all these companies together, their chain's never been connected before. They're trying to figure out how to make that work. And quite frankly, they really don't want to link their chains together, just a client does. And so they're having to do it out of force because they're trying to help their business grow. So they're taking on assignments, but working with other agencies they probably really don't want to do. At Spinutech, it's one team working on it. And we see our clients say their implementation's faster, the strategy's seen through at a thicker level, their execution's done better, the time it takes, the implementation costs are reduced, and the results are great.
And you have multiple offices throughout the country, is that right?
We do. So we're at five locations in 4 states today. We have team members probably in 28 or 29 states today. In this COVID world today, we're optional to come back to work. So the majority of our team takes advantage of that. And we've taken advantage of that from a hiring perspective. We don't have to hire local to where our current offices are today. And so we've been able to bring more experts into our family than we would have prior to COVID, because we would have required most to be near a location, and that would have excluded a lot of the talent we have today to work with us.
I would like to talk about some of the digital trends that we can be on the lookout for heading into the new year. But first, let's talk a little bit about your podcast. Why are you starting it?
Well, I love thought leadership. I love to learn every day, and there's so many different ways that you can learn. But I think probably one of my most preferred ways of learning is through others' experiences. And I grow by hearing other people's experiences, and I want to learn from others. I think before I started to learn through others' experiences, I learned through the school of hard knocks. The school of hard knocks is I did things on my own, thinking they were good, but I failed. And I would get back up and try to fix them again. But I belong to so many different peer organizations and thought leadership that the school of hard knocks isn't my school any longer. The school of learning from others who've already been there before and being inspired by them is my motivation for this podcast. It's to help companies grow, people grow, and be able to learn from other people's experiences and not have to use the school of hard knocks as their education. It's expensive, it's frustrating, and there's a faster path to get where you want if you can learn from others.
So you mentioned in your intro the kinds of guests you might have on. Maybe you can recap that and then tell me who do you think would most benefit from listening to it?
Yeah, so I think for sure, it's a digital advertising agency, and that being some of the area I have passion for. Certainly marketers who want to share their experiences. Hopefully the successes, but also the failures too. We don't only learn from successes, but certainly experienced marketers will be a frequent guest. C-level people, there's a lot of CEOs, presidents of companies, chief revenue officers who are very active in helping their companies grow, and be able to learn from them what they did right and maybe what they did wrong and what they'd like to do over again, and be able to share some of those experiences. And I also think just in a general, people who have just improved themselves, which has benefited many aspects of their life. Making yourself better may make you better. Helping your company grow, it may make you better in your household. It may make you better in your community. It may make yourself feel better about yourself, and all of that ends up having a better output across the multiple different things that you touch every day, and just try to get better. And at Spinutech, we have a value: it's get better every day. And I believe the guests here are going to help the audience get better, and it's probably going to help their companies grow, and it's going to help their personal growth as well.
As we kind of wrap things up here, let's talk about some of the digital trends we can be on the lookout for as we head into next year. You mentioned earlier that a digital year is like a lifetime for a lot of people. So tell me about some of these trends we can look out for.
So I think many people who are predicting what 2023 looks like from the digital perspective are doing it with less confidence than they've done in prior years. I think a lot of the publicly traded media companies are forecasting revenue challenges coming up in 2023. That they don't want to tell the analysts that, because they think that's going to help their stock price that day. And so if the media outlets are sharing that they see headwinds ahead of them from maintaining revenue pace they've had in prior quarters, that's definitely a red flag of where they see some challenges coming forward. Here at Spinutech, we are seeing our advertisers in their 2023 budgets actually increasing what they're going to do year over year. So maybe there may be different enterprises that we're working with, but I also think too, we're really focused on results. My partner Mark always jokes, we're a data agency disguised. We're a data company disguised as an agency. I think it's not hard to spend more money on your advertising when your advertising is really working for your company. And so while we see some of the publicly traded media companies, sharing risks and concerns about future revenue shortages that may be on their headwinds, our clients are not slowing down in what their spend is. They're increasing spend year over year. And so you're seeing kind of our own experience versus what we're seeing out in the public markets as being a little bit of a different message. So I think it's going to vary for many. I think it's going to be, if you have a lot of tailwind behind you, you're probably going to continue to spend. If you're doing a lot of exploratory, you might not do as much exploratory because you're concerned that exploratory is not going to have a good return on investment. And I think many brands, it's going to be a different recipe for them, but there's definitely some are spending and there's definitely some that are restricting.
Okay. Hey, Kevin, it's been great to talk to you today. I really appreciate it. And we'll look forward to future episodes of your podcast. Thanks so much.
Chad, thank you so much. I appreciate your time today.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Growth Fire podcast. We'll see you again next time, and be sure to click subscribe to get future episodes.